Roadside Attraction is having its best year ever. Okay. What does that portend for the future, Howard? Does that mean more distribution, that is a smaller distribution that's platformed at the same time as video on demand? What do you think the reason for that is? Is there a cultural sea change that we're in the middle of?
I don't think, I mean, certainly I'm optimistic about it, but I think that part of it is a transition from a certain kind of film that used to be made by the studios and is now made, quote, independent. I mean, we've had a great run with Mud, which is going to do over 20 million, and that certainly is a movie that, 15, 20, I don't know, at least years ago probably, would have been made by a studio. Studios don't really want to make adult dramatic film for the reasons that we've talked about. They can't be easily marketed in China, Russia, and India, and that's okay. I mean, that's just the reality of what's happened to the movie business. So I think we're moving into that space, and it's great for us, and it's certainly ramping up because the studios make fewer and fewer every year. Bill and I were talking earlier about a film of his, and I said, the studios do not make a serious film that can't be released in September, October, November, December. There is no reason for them to make a serious film that can't be released in the fall and chase for awards because they don't have any interest or knowledge or experience that says that it's worth it. Right. Otherwise, if it's not so I said, in relation to a specific film, why go into that period when they're shoving everything they've ever made now that's serious into that period because the marketability of a serious film has gone down to a tiny little sliver of Oscar fare, and anything else is I remember a famous movie that was a sea change was Cinderella Man because it was talked about and there was a lot of gnashing of teeth about it with Renee Zellweger and Russell Crowe, and it was like, we're never going to make another serious movie again. I remember it was like all this.
Yeah, they said that it came out the same year as $1 Million Baby, and we did okay with it. I remember it was.
But I just remember a specific discussion, and I think it was sort of an interesting,
turn.
It's not just that it's a serious movie. It's that the studios aren't going to do a one-off. I mean, that's the real bottom. Like, they don't want to buy things that can't be franchised because the marketing costs go down as the franchise goes up and the eyeballs go up the more times you make a movie. And so I think a lot of the problem is that the one-off movie, the single story, is really unappealing to that marketplace. But now there's all these other places and ways to do it. And I think that's the good news is that if a studio's only making 4 movies or 5 movies a year and there's only 5 studios, are there still 5?
Who released the Terrence Malick picture?
I think there's still 5. Then there's a lot of distribution space besides those few movies. So there's places to go and distributors that are really good, like Roadside and many others that can fill this spot. So with the single, one-off movie that could be as good as a studio movie once was when they made those kinds of films.